From advertising to software as a service to data.
Across all of our programs and clients, we've seen a 55 to 65% open rate.
Getting brands authentically integrated into content performs better than TV advertising.
Typical lifespan of an article is about 24 to 36 hours.
If we're reaching out to the right person with the right message and a clear call to action, then it's just a matter of timing.
Welcome to the MarTech Podcast, and I Hear Everything production. In this podcast, you'll hear the stories of world-class marketers that use technology to drive business results and achieve career success. We'll unearth the real-world experiences of some of the brightest minds in the marketing and technology space so you can learn the tools, tips, and tricks they've learned along the way. Now here's the host of the MarTech Podcast, Benjamin Shapiro.
Welcome to the MarTech Podcast. I'm your host, Benjamin Shapiro, and today we're going to discuss the evolution of feminine marketing. Joining us is Hanna Hermanson, who is the CEO of Done For You Marketing, which produces copywriting, websites, and funnels focusing on feminine energy to approach sales. And Done For You Marketing offers social media content, email newsletters, and strategy to help their clients, mostly coaches, get out of the hustle and grind and start seeing inbound leads for their high-ticket programs. Yesterday, Hanna and I talked about why the new marketing era is feminine, and today we're going to continue our conversation talking about the 4 steps to set up a feminine funnel. All right, here's the second part of my conversation with Hanna Hermanson, the CEO of Done For You Marketing. Hanna, welcome back to the MarTech Podcast.
Thanks. Are you ready for some more nuance?
I'm excited to continue our conversation. And we did have a very nuanced conversation yesterday talking about what you're describing as feminine marketing. And we will keep it separate. Boys and girls all have the same objective when they're running a business. We all want to maximize profitability, grow our influence, be successful. But there's 2 different approaches to that. One is being a hunter-gatherer, going out, outbound sales, hunt, kill, drag back food to the family. And the second one is the feminine approach, which is creating a community and nurturing people and allowing them to self-select. And so those lead to 2 different marketing funnels. The masculine approach being more fill the top of the funnel and push everything through, and the feminine approach being something different. Talk to me about your 4 steps for creating a feminine funnel.
Yeah. And the first step, I think, is our biggest difference because this is not radical, especially if you've been building marketing campaigns for a while. You know that you need touch points and you have a top of the funnel and you want to move qualified prospects down to the bottom of the funnel, which is a buck, right? A sale. The place that I think we have the biggest opportunity is in this first step of setting up what we're calling the feminine marketing funnel, and that's in alignment. So we're typically really great at market research and figuring out our target audience and demographics and psychographics of our ideal consumer. We don't always take as much a strategic look inward. And this idea of alignment has almost felt like secret sauce, magic wand, whatever you want to call it, for our clients who were struggling with these people come to me and I'm like doing the thing and I'm following the marketing plan and I'm showing up in these places that I'm supposed to, but they haven't aligned their marketing strategy with their personality. So some of us are not meant to be on podcasts. We can't stand the sound of our own voice. We can't have a complete sentence. We get too nervous. It feels like what I call the zone of ugh when you try to do marketing that's not aligned with your company or your personality. But when we can start to use strategies like personality assessments and even some woo-woo things like human design or woo-woo, here we go again, right? But looking inward to understand how am I the most magnetic? And then aligning your marketing strategy showing up in those ways. So here's an example. For one of our clients, she was hitting the social media numbers game, right? Had tons of followers, was doing the DMs and was just so burnt out. And people were noticing. She was kind of coming off as rude and aggressive, even though she was trying to connect with people. So we take a look at really where her strengths are and what her zone of genius is. And she's a beautiful writer, but no one told her that you could still market through writing. Everyone was like, you got to do video and you got to hack the algorithm. So we shifted focus to her email list. And now she shows up consistently in more alignment and has people reaching out after emails. Whereas on DMs, people were ghosting. So lots of different ways we can look at this, whether you're a company or a personal brand, using some inner alignment as well as the outward market research. Step number 1.
So what I'm hearing from you is you taking an introspective approach. And I 100% agree with this. And it's the reason why this is a podcast, not a YouTube channel. Because I, as the talent, decided, you know what? I feel like I've got a better voice for radio than face for video. And I'm not saying that I'm ugly and I'm not looking for compliments.
It's where you shine. It's your zone of genius.
It's the place that I felt the most comfortable being able to have conversations, which led me to this medium. So you're going to be introspective and you're going to try to find the channels that you resonate in or with the most. What's the second step?
So then this is connection, right? We talked about this yesterday a little bit around making connections with real people. And yeah, you can reach out on social media. I don't think that's the most effective way. You can run ads to connect with people. I think finding strategic partners that can help point people your way. So some folks call this joint ventures or affiliates or referral partners. But plugging that into your marketing, like this is just like an essential piece of our funnel, is to have other people talking about your business. And so setting people up for success by being able to actually send you referrals and actually set up a pipeline for those partners to bring you business. Again, not just focusing on cold, brand new people all of the time. The other piece that we do, this is called connection, is looking at who's already existing. I think that when we go to launch a new campaign, we forget about who's already in the pipeline or who's already on the list. And so re-engaging with things like surveys, call and response, email messaging. Again, not just connecting to be like, hey, so glad we're Instagram friends, but like starting conversations, and people love giving their opinion. So engaging your strategic partnerships and your current audience is step number 2 to setting up the feminine marketing funnel.
All right. So the first thing you're going to do is, as you said, find your zone of genius. And I think that it's not only your zone of genius, find the place where you can create content that you feel comfortable with, where you're going to shine. And then it's engaging in that community. Podcasters work with other podcasters to promote their podcast. How many times can I say podcast in one sentence? I think that the idea here is that if you're going to engage in a medium, you shouldn't try to do it alone. You should try to bring other people in with you. Engage them, partnerships, collaborations. What's the third step in the process?
Demonstrate. So we are often taught, do a training or give a freebie away. And while those little nuggets can be helpful for the top of funnel, just to like get new people interested and like, oh, 5 ways to lose weight. And then maybe you sell them something to lose weight later. But actually dropping the BS and like opening the curtain to actually show people what it's like to work with you. So no more pretending like, oh, come to my free training. It's going to be a pitch the whole time. Or, oh, like invite a friend to dance class and then we're going to sell you the whole class. But actually inviting people into something like an open house or a free Q&A session or one module of your actual course. Because there's so much out there now, people just like want the thing. They want to know when I open the box or I click buy, what am I actually getting? So again, depending on your product or service, there's different ways to demonstrate, but be transparent. Invite people into what it's actually like. What is it actually going to be like if I'm on this podcast or if I'm working with you? Demonstrate.
It's a taste of the experience. You're demonstrating what the full product is going to be. And I think that often this is trials, demos, explainers. It can be content. It's some sort of an example of what your services are going to be like. All right, there's the last step in the funnel. We've figured out what our medium is. We're figuring out who we're going to work with. We're giving people an opportunity to get a taste of what it's like to work with us. What's the last step in the funnel?
Invite. The masculine way would be pitch, sell, enroll. But here is the invitation for your audience to make that empowered buying decision. Because like you said, people are looking around. People don't like to be sold to, but they do love to buy. So the fourth critical element of this funnel is a really clear way to move forward, like invite them to like take that next action. So like one of our clients, she was doing the thing. She was lined up with her podcast. She was showing up. She was connecting with people. She had a decent audience that was engaged, and she invited them to an open house where they could come and see her program. but they didn't know what to do then. So it's just like making sure you have that really clear. Here's how we work together. There's a process in place or a call to action or the email sequence to make sure that there are invitations happening. Because especially when we're talking about feminine energy, this one gets forgotten. But if we're been in marketing, make the invitation.
I feel like this is where, and I hope I'm not stereotyping, but I feel like this is where a lot of women in their careers tend to struggle. My wife has told me that she had to learn how to negotiate her salary and ask for what she wanted. It is not something that is inherently programmed into women in our generation. It's a learned skill. And I don't know if it goes back to G.I. Joes and Barbies when we're kids or whatever it is, but men tend to be more aggressive with asking for what they want, and women tend to be more passive about it. And this is something that maybe is a learned skill. So the last question I'll ask for you, when we talk about that invitation, what are some ways that women specifically can feel more confident in asking for what they want, in asking for the sale or getting over that last hurdle, which actually turns your marketing efforts into dollars?
Well, the good news is having these other pieces in place have already pre-qualified people a lot. So you're not just like jumping on stage and shaking in your boots, like, work with me, throw me your credit card. We've given people the opportunity to make micro agreements and to say yes. So the invitation is really a check-in for them, like a reflection. If this is something you've been looking for, if this is something you want more of, then here is your next step. And doing that sort of resonance check is a way to invite instead of sell.
This is one of the places where I actually think men should get some credit. Obviously, we're stereotyping here and we're bucketing everyone. Everyone has a little bit of a different skill set. So mea culpa, every asterisk in the world here. I think that often women can say, look, I'm going to act like a dude here. And I'm going to ask for what I want because this is the time when it's appropriate for me to put in my call to action. I've done my selling. I've proven that there is value. I want to invite you to be my customer. I'm not going to be pushy. I'm not going to be a jerk. But I'm going to make it very clear that I have an objective and be confident in what you're selling and be confident in yourself. And it is okay at the end of the process to say, decision time. But look, guys aren't all bad. Sometimes we need to be more masculine. Sometimes we need to be more feminine. At the end of the day, we need to be more inclusive and appreciative of all of our difference. And it comes down to our marketing funnel as well. And that wraps up this episode of the Martech Podcast. Thanks for listening to my conversation with Hanna Hermanson, the CEO of Done For You Marketing. Join us again tomorrow when Hanna and I wrap up our conversation talking about feminine social media posts that inspire sales. If you can't wait until our next episode and you'd like to learn more about Hanna, you can find a link to her LinkedIn profile in our show notes. You can contact her on Twitter where her handle is Hanna Hermanson. That's HANNAHHERMANSON. Or you could visit her company's website, which is dreamlifeisreallife.com. Just one more link in our show notes I'd like to tell you about. If you didn't have a chance to take notes while you were listening to this podcast, head over to martechpod.com where we have summaries of all of our episodes and contact information for our guests. You can also subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and you can even send us your topic suggestions or your marketing questions, which we'll answer live on our show. Of course, you can always reach out on social media. Our handle is MarTechPod, MarTechPod, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can contact me directly. My handle is Ben J. Shap, BenJShap. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you want a daily stream of marketing and technology knowledge in your podcast feed, we're going to publish an episode every day this year. So hit the subscribe button in your podcast app and we'll be back in your feed tomorrow morning. All right, that's it for today. But until next time, my advice is to just focus on keeping your customers happy.